Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and this is a sitting congressman, U.S. Representative, Kentucky, I guess. Should I introduce a bill to abolish the Federal Reserve? Let me refresh the results there. I was a voter of In the Fed. 88.7% of the people want him to introduce the bill to ban the Fed. And then check this out. What do we have? Cuban ICE-9 going on? Cuba wakes up to find their bank accounts have emptied. Socialism, fantastic slogans, terrifying reality. Update, no mainstream confirmation so far. Closest is AP reporting long lines for ATMs. Yeah, with this kind of stuff, CNBC and the boys, they would be handed their talking points. Do not talk about banks in Cuba. In fact, if I put the word bank run into, in fact, I probably shouldn't have said that, but if I put that phrase in the title of this video, I can assure you I would be censored. Speaking of people who are working for the government, here's Jim Cramer.
I just can't get 64, or I can't even get to 44 for that matter. In short, when I see this running GameStop, the responsible move is simply to say, sell, sell, sell. What about AMC? Different situation entirely. GameStop at least has a good balance sheet and actually turned a profit last year. It's just that the stock's overvalued compared to its peers. But AMC, well, it's left to its own devices. I think this movie theater chain will mostly run out of money in 2026 when $2.8 billion in debt comes due. They sold some stock yesterday from a plan that allows them to raise capital, but the $250 million they raised just made it easier for them to pay their debts that come due in 2025. If the stock keeps climbing, AMC can sell more stock.
Let me tell you this, folks. If this guy is ever telling you to do something, it's too effing late. This guy gets handed talking points before he goes on his show, or he wouldn't even have the show. Now, I need to warn you all. The crypto police could come after you even for listening to a clip like this. Linda P. Jones, who has no fear, was willing to say the word 10K, and I'm not saying that I believe XRP is going to $10,000. What I'm saying is that it's okay to talk about it. That's all I'm saying. But this is a great clip from Linda P. Jones, and she was on with James from Crypto for Life. His whole video is down here below if you want to see it.
And when you talk currency, that's literally in the trillions per day. So I don't think we can use market cap when we're talking about XRP. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. We need to look at it in terms of currency, number one. Right. Number two, I think that if you look at the Athey-Mitchnick calculator, which is the calculator that Ripple themselves came up with, and one of those people is over at BlackRock and in digital assets over at BlackRock. Another one, I think the other one is on the board of Ripple, if I'm not mistaken. So they're very involved in the industry still, but they came up with a calculator which looks at how much money flows every day and from how much time in between each flow, and that calculates how much XRP could be worth. Right. Now, Jimmy Valley did a whole study on the values, and so we have a low valuation, we have a very high valuation, we have everything in between. So, it's not for me to say what the ultimate value can be, but I do think it is a matter of how much is flowing on the rails. And the fact that we got news that Ripple was going to offer a stable coin meant that number just got exponentially larger, because stable coins are one of the most important things to move money in. If you think about how you buy crypto now and how you take it from your bank account usually into a stable coin and then into a crypto, or moving it from one place to another, possibly with a stable coin, it's something we use them all the time, right? So there's going to be a lot more flows because of that. Now, the other thing I want to say is that people have written papers on the fact, at least two people that I know of have written papers on the fact that they believe that XRP was engineered to be $10,000 or more based on how many decimal points it has, how many, the 100 billion that are in existence, the drops, the whole thing.
Right.
So that's their estimate by their research, and that's a very interesting number. I think that that is definitely a possibility. That's definitely within the realm of what would make sense.
Right.
You know, how much money could flow on the XRP ledger. And when Rosie Rios says the train has left the station, I think that means that the financial system is all planned. Everything has to be planned. There's nothing that is taken for granted. There's nothing that happens by chance. When you're talking about money and changing the monetary system, every single thing has to be coordinated, planned. You have dates for things. You have go live schedules. You have all these things with the software and with money flows, and they know exactly when this is going to happen. And I think that it's not a coincidence that the U.S. is the last to bring crypto laws into existence. That's because we have the world's reserve currency, and therefore the other countries are all...
So we've been watching a game, not a coincidence?
...together under the BRICS nations, and they are... getting a currency reset into something of value again and out of fiat, and that will force the world's reserve currency, to have to do the same thing. So I think it's all planned and it's all scheduled, and we're getting close to the point where it's going to become very obvious, in my opinion.
Ooh, I like the sound of all of that. Now, this was also a good clip from Linda P. Jones. Same show.
Also, obviously, the CEO for Ripple talked about the market possibly doubling by the end of this year. Where do you think that's possible? Maybe we see a $5 trillion market cap. And then he came back and said maybe he shot a little low on that number. It could be a little higher than that. What is your feelings in regards to crypto, and where do you think everything will play out going towards the end of this year?
Well, it's my opinion that we get stablecoin laws this year, and that's because Jeremy Allaire, CEO of Circle, said this is a year that stablecoins become real money. So I think we may get stablecoin legislation around November is what I'm projecting. It could be earlier, it could be wrong on that, but I'm just estimating November. Okay. Next year, I think we get crypto laws. So we were going to get the legalization and the explanation of crypto and what it has to do in order to meet all the criteria to be seen as crypto under the law. Okay. And so when you consider that stable coins could happen this year, I think Brad was being very conservative when he said 5 trillion. Many people have said 100 trillion by the end of the decade.
Yeah.
We're at roughly 2 trillion now.
Wow.
So I think, and half of that's Bitcoin, right? So it's really, the alts are only 1 trillion. Yeah. So if that happens, we're looking at multiples and multiples of where we are now. So even Brad himself said he was being conservative when he said 5 trillion by the end of this year. Right. I think it's going to be a lot bigger because a lot of money flows on stable coins, and that's going to be huge. So yeah,
there you go. A lot bigger. Okay. Good clips from Linda P. Jones, who's not worried about the cancel culture police. All right, if you remember this is from the Vanguard CEO when he said that they were not going to do a Bitcoin ETF.
Spot Bitcoin ETFs. Question came in, hey, we know you're not offering one. Have you changed your mind? What would it take for you to change your mind? We don't plan to, and we're not going to change our minds around this. Unless the asset class...
Okay, you don't have to hear the rest of that. What you need to hear is this. That guy has been replaced. They've now named this Salim Ramji as their new CEO, and he comes from BlackRock, where he was the one that helped file the BlackRock ETF, Bitcoin ETF.
It's certainly been a record first half for us in bond ETF flows. But a lot of that was just investors getting back to rebalancing their portfolios from underweights that they had at the beginning of the year. And they're still doing some of that in their portfolios. But I think around equities, some of it has been the resurgence in things like the S&P. But I think underneath it is just investors realizing that in a portfolio, you need both. And there's no one exact moment to time the market, but it's how to get good balance in your portfolio.
All right, so anyway, you get the picture. Now, do you remember this? Why would Vanguard sit on the sidelines and watch BlackRock? And I wanted to remind everyone of what Mark Yusko said when it came out that Vanguard, UBS, and Merrill Lynch were not going to have Bitcoin ETFs. This is what Mark Yusko said.
Merrill Lynch, UBS, and Vanguard basically got a call from Ms. Warren. Like, well, you can't say that for sure. I can say whatever I want. I'm boisterous, remember? So I can say that, and I believe that's what happened. I think Ms. Warren gave him a call and said, nope, you're not taking it. Merrill Lynch.
All right, so I'll remind everybody, say it again, Senator Warren is walking her party to the biggest political blunder in history. It's the equivalent of when Coca-Cola decided it'd be a good idea to put out new Coke, or when Bud Light decided they would have a transgender person promoting their beer when most of their customers don't agree with all of that. Let's see. Let me see how many, what we're looking like on this. Okay. All right. Moving along. And then there's this.
Conference in December, which I call the Asset Managers Are Coming. You know, we had Hamilton Lane on stage in Aberdeen, and you know, the likes of BlackRock are in the market, the likes of Vanguard and so on. So JP Morgan, as I said, Goldman Sachs, Citibank, they're all working on it. So 23 is the year where we're building the infrastructure. 24 is the year where it can start to scale. But like any digital revolution, once it starts scaling, it's quite exponential because it's very easily replicatable. Conference in December, which...
Okay. Let's see here. Dark Defender, keep your eye on the XRP BTC. Now, I'm going to go, when I go into the group today, I'm going to talk about DC FinTech. I know two people that are going to be at DC FinTech. We're going to talk about that. I'm also going to show you some things that I know I'm not allowed to show out here on YouTube because they would not let me show it. So I'm going to show you, I would get censored big time if I tried to show it out here. So I'm going to show you something that I think is significant. I think we're undergoing, I've said it before, I think we're undergoing an awakening that involves everything we're talking about, including crypto. I think we're undergoing we'd rather have the Great Awakening than the Great Reset. I think we could all agree on that. All of it's relevant. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Let's go talk about who we know that's going to be at DC or the DC Blockchain Summit. All right.